This is Coach Jordan Smotherman. We're going to talk about the kettlebell swing today and some common mistakes that we see with it. Really, mostly with the swing, the mistake that we see is really like a squat swing rather than a hip swing. So a proper swing looks like this. I'll show you from the front, and then I'll turn to the side so you can see from the side. And then from the side. What we see a lot of athletes do at the beginning is something like this, where the chest is staying up, it's flat, but what's doing all the movement is that squatting and then coming back up. The best way to think about the swing is that your hamstrings are going to be a spring that you're going to stretch and snap, stretch and snap. As you let your chest come forward, the spring stretches, and then you're going to snap it back, bringing your hips forward, your chest upright. So your chest is going to stay straight. You fall, just hinge at the hips, stretch the spring, and then as it gets stretched out, it's going to snap forward, back stays straight, everything comes up together, and then the force of your hips coming forward, throw the bell into the air. Here at our gym, with our programming, we don't have you go overhead. We typically just clear our eyes with the bell. That's fine. So nowhere in our programming are we going to ask you to come all the way overhead. It's going to be just about right here. So it's a real simple movement, great ballistic exercise, and it's all for the posterior chain. If you're squatting here, then you're missing the point of the exercise, which is to strengthen our posterior chain. So that's really the first most common thing that we see. The second thing that we see is the turtle back, which actually puts your back in jeopardy. And it's basically like this. Right from the beginning, you start here, and you swing, and the whole time your back is arched over like that. And you've got, like here at the bottom, you just kind of look like a turtle's shell, bent over like that. You don't really have, you're relying on your bones and not your muscles to hold you into position. But as with all lifts, we want our muscles to support our skeleton, not our skeleton to support the position or any sort of posture. If you're breaking over like that and flexing over, then your muscles aren't supporting your skeleton. So we want to avoid the turtle back. And then another thing that we see, not so commonly, but we've seen it before, is coming up on the toes. So as people come here, they kind of get pushed forward, and they come onto their toes like that, and it kind of forces their knees out. If you look at me from here, it kind of forces your knees out like that and brings you forward. There's really not too much to that other than the fact that you just have to let yourself settle on the flat of your feet, let your heels come into contact with the ground, and generate a lot of force from the heels rather than allowing yourself to come up with the toes. So again, the proper swing is this. And then one last tip I'll give you is to start with the bell in front of you. Some of our athletes want to start like this, but it's really hard to get any momentum on the bell, and you kind of waste that first movement. If you've got about a foot or so in front of you, as you pick it up, it's going to want to naturally swing. It's going to have speed already. And then as you bring it back with your arms a little bit and throw your hips forward, now you've already got a good movement and you've set up in a good position. So that's the swing. Make sure you're thinking about it like with your hamstrings as a spring, stretching and snapping back. Back stays flat. Chest falls as your hips hinge.